Okay. Airport administrator. According to the latest figures, less than one commercial flight in 2 million, strays off course while landing, a number low enough to allow runways to be built closer together without a significant increase in risk. Opponents of closer runways claim that the number is closer to 1 in 20,000, but this figure is based on a partial review of air traffic control tapes and so is relatively unreliable compared to the other figure, which is based on a thorough study of the flight reports required of pilots for all commercial flights.
All right, so what is our conclusion here?
I think that like starting from the but in the last sentence.
Well, and I would say it's here, and so is unreliable compared to the other figure. And so,
Okay. Yes.
because that's almost like our reasoning is like,
Yes.
so our reasoning for this conclusion is that this figure is based on a partial review of air traffic control tapes, and it's unreliable compared to this other thing that is based on the flight reports required of pilots of all commercial flights.
Mm-hmm.
So on Flaw questions, what are the two questions that we want to ask ourselves as we go through the answer choices?
So do you want to ask, does this happen?
Yep, and is it a problem?
Yes.
On Flaw questions, we want to make a prediction of what the flaw is. I think that this is a very hard flaw to predict.
Okay.
Like, I mean, you can try. Like, what flaw do you see here? Like, why is this relatively unreliable compared to the other figure?
Okay, so yeah, points of closure. Okay, so it must be something about, which is based on, like, it must be something about how the flight report is more reputable in some way than air traffic control tapes.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. The fact that you got that far is impressive. So go ahead and start with A.
Okay. The argument presumes, without providing justification, that building runways closer together will encourage pilots to be more cautious when landing.
Do we assume that?
No. I also don't think that's like the point of the.
No, well, it doesn't happen, so we can cross it off. We don't even have to ask it. So
okay. The argument overlooks the fact that those who make mistakes are often unreliable sources of information about those mistakes.
Okay, so do we overlook the fact that those who make mistakes might be unreliable about giving information about those mistakes?
So this is, I think, something that I also didn't understand about like this question is for air traffic control tapes and for required for the reports, like who is responsible for making it?
Who is responsible for the flight reports?
Is it the pilot?
Yes.
Yeah.
And air traffic control tapes, I think that those are literally just like recordings.
Okay.
And so
okay, so the argument overlooks the fact that those who make mistakes are often unreliable. Well, then I think that it kind of does because it's saying like because isn't air traffic control tapes you're just videotaping them so no one's like
and so the person making this argument is assuming what of the pilots?
Yeah, is assuming that pilots are 100% reliable pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that be a problem? Yes. What did you say?
I said D. The argument proves that.
So the argument assumes that the air traffic control tape study do not provide accurate information concerning specific flights. I don't think that happens. I don't think that we say that it doesn't provide accurate information concerning specific flights.
Right.
More our issue is we're saying this other thing is better.
Right.
So like maybe they both are inaccurate, right? Technically. But our issue isn't necessarily just with the air traffic control tapes alone.
Right. Yes.
And then C just says the argument questions the integrity of those who are opposed to allow runways. Like we don't question the integrity of anybody.
Yeah,
So
no.
easy to cross off. And then E says the argument concludes from a lack of conclusive evidence supporting the higher number's accuracies that it must be inaccurate. Wait, the argument concludes from a lack of evidence supporting the higher number's accuracy. Oh, so they're saying so what this is saying is that because we have a lack of evidence to support this, it just must not be true.
Right.
And that's like not is what happened.
No, yeah.
And so that's how it's B. That's tough.